How about my dearest YouTube friends? Today we are in a new video, and friends, yesterday was Kavam's string, and basically they have already premiered the last character that is going to join this Heart of Fire, which is nothing more and nothing less than Darphenix. And in this case, before going on to analyze the characters, because what we are going to do in the video, well, basically this event begins on May 7 until May 13, and basically it is going to work. Just like the Omega event, we're basically going to have to open crystals to get these characters. And let's remember, as you are seeing on screen taken from the 10th of the Kaban broadcast, that basically there will be some milestones to be able to get these that you are seeing. 2 copies of Darphenis, a gem raised to rank from rank 3 to rank 4 gem, the Awakening of Heart of Fire, 200 stones, and a 7-star Heart of Fire crystal. And now, friends, we are going to analyze each one of the characters that you are going to be seeing on screen and on this glass. And what we are going to start in this case is with Nick Fury. You're already seeing it on the screen. I think that of the strongest plans, of the strongest characters that we are going to have in this crystal character that is going to be, I think that the most sought after is in my case Vale, and because you will say he is a pretty top character in defense and attack. You are already seeing directly extracted from the announcement that Kavan made, and we are going to analyze whether this character, is it advisable to wear it uniquely or not? So I'm going to take a short break, and we're going to my Excel of the tier list that you have in all the videos, and you're already seeing on the screen the tier list in which Nick Fury, you're already seeing that we have him put as a GO tier despite it being locked at 6 stars. Separately, we have analysis on the channel, but I hope to bring you as a future analysis in rank 3 or rank 4 of the character. And Nick Fury, friends, do need the unique ability awakened. Why would you say Nick Fury, basically? Mine has a second life when it is knocked out. So what this second life does with greater certainty is that the duration of that life of that second life, well, it is eliminated more slowly. It's good until it reaches 20%, where you really develop the character of Nick Fury. That is why he is a character that requires being awake and having high security and friends. Nick Fury is de los mejores personajes defensores que podemos tener en el juego, así ese es uno de los personajes por el cual optar. Okay, we're going for the next character that you're already seeing on screen, which is the very powerful Apocalypse. I really wanted this character to come out of 7 stars. He is a very difficult character. On top of that, what it does is empower other mutant characters. Okay, in this case, Apocalypse is a force in both attack and defense, and what we're going to do, analyze. Is it like with N Fury? If that unique ability is totally necessary, we are going to move on to Excel, and you are already seeing the Excel on the screen in this case. Well, a couple of months ago, we downgraded it to Semi-Godziel because in the end, he was a character that was blocked from 6 stars, Apocalypse. You are already seeing that he is here, and that basically this character does not require the awakened ability to develop all that potential. Yes, it is true that Apocalypse it benefits him because in the end what he is going to do is that fight after fight, a percentage of that life is going to be regenerating depending on how we have maintained it without fighting. It's basically like entering a regeneration chamber. So imagine you fight Apocalypse, they take 10% of your life, and then you're 2 fights without playing. When you play with an Apocalypse again, it will heal. So in the end, it can serve you for different purposes. You need that is where basically this character becomes pretty top on top. Let's remember, as I told you before, that this character can make any mutant character a horseman of the apocalypse, and in this case increases his abilities. The only bad thing we have about the apocalypse is that it is true that we have to be developing it to get its maximum potential and not developing it in the fight itself. You don't need several fights to be able to develop the character to win those persistent charges that are going to become improvements too. Science that they are going to be working to do much more damage with super attacks, apart from the fact that its game mode in the end is quite complex, which basically has super attack 1, super attack 2, and maintain those disadvantages with the hard blow. The truth is that Apocalypse is another character that I love and many people really hate him. Let's go get the third character that Kabank showed for this crystal. And the third character In this case, we lower the revolutions of this crystal a little, and you are seeing that it is an abomination, immortal with 7 stars. That yes, that it is true that this character was left a lot in the ink tank, because in the end it is another character that requires the 200 to work very well. We talked about that after skills, and he is a character with brutal damage due to poison disadvantages. Besides, he said, it is possible that they are going to immerse the character in themes of the poison and so on, so that he is stronger. Let's move on to thesis. Speaking of this character, and you are seeing how I downgraded him in the past, quite a while ago, to usable basically because of what I just told you, he is a character that in the end has remained a little forgotten. It is very important to have the character awakened, because what it is going to do is increase those 12 poisons that can be self-infringing, and also start the fight with 3 self-intrinsic poisons to develop the character. Apart from depending on the singularity, well, it is going to do more. It's giving the damage for that acid burn. For now, this is what the abilities say, but let's remember that Kavan has already said that he is going to puff and touch some parameters to make the character even more powerful. I think that here the crystal is already beginning to waver a little with this immortal abomination, but hey, let's move on to the next characters. And the next character that belongs to this Hearts of Fire, you are seeing that she is Tigra, a very, very powerful character who has neutralization as her basic way of playing, and that strong blow with that flaw that makes her a perfect counter against Serpent and against most of the cosmics that prevent her from having those disadvantages. So let's move on to Atieli to see what his skills are like and explain that singular ability he has. And friends, for me, it is another go tier that they are going to put the very powerful tiger into this glass. In this case, I have to tell you that he also requires his awakened ability, that he can work without that ability, because in the end, his skill kit is the basics, with that sense of accuracy and that hunter. But the important thing is that this character does require 200, that I was wrong when they introduced us to Tigra, and I told you that news that Tigra was 7 stars. This character does. It requires duplication to be very good, and it requires quite a bit. Will you really say why? Because the sense of hunting, and what is the other called? The primary sense. Because they are going to increase more seconds than at the end is what is going to allow us to do that terrible damage through the breaks. And apart from that, this character also has the characteristic that you have to know how to play with him, because in the end, you have to be abusing, so to speak, the strong blow of the character to really do that terrible damage that Tigra has. Part of all its functionalities with the theme of neutralization, as I told you before, that it will basically allow no cosmic character to gain those improvements, and it will be changing them for breaking disadvantages, and it will explode. The one that Tigra for me is also one very top that has been added to this Heart of Fire glass. Let's move on to the next one. And you are already seeing, friends, what is the next character who gets into this glass on the part of the technologist. Ant-Man of the future, the biggest pain of eggs in defense. This character is another top defender that they have put us in this crystal, who is also a great attacker. As you can see from that blast damage, this Ant-Man from the future does. He's a very decent character for this crystal. Let's move on to tier list to explain her abilities a little. And are you already seeing where Ant-Man from the future is? He is positioned as a Gothier because in the end, this character has been very important in the goal of debating Alliance Wars. This Alliance War Path 3 with this character was a real ordeal, and is a character that really needs the awakened ability. Once again, you can see that Kavan has wanted to promise characters that require the skill for 200 of the characters, and in the end, it is a character that requires that unique skill greater, because the more simulations we have of this character, we are going to be making him immune to the disadvantages of bleeding. And what was the other incineration? 90%. For this reason, basically what it does is reduce that power of those disadvantages by 90%. Besides, when a bleeding or incineration effect is included, or forgiveness ends, or rather when we have put it on the evil of the future, basically this character is going to put one on. A self-repair advantage, and you're going to be healing life. And besides, When a man is going to lose more than 10% of his life, that repair auto is activated. And apart from that, he gets that maximum armor, which is what it really has been, a pain in the ass for everyone in this character. Top defender, top attacker. In this tasting of attacker, he has stayed a little compared to other technological characters, but I don't want to face a soul from the future. Rank 4 in, for example, and that's it. Finally, let's go to the last character that they told us yesterday by Kvam, and you are already seeing that it is the new character that they have included this May as Dar Phoenix, a character that from what you are seeing, not much more is known about the character. In the end, it hurts a lot because of that Nova Flame, because of the amount of disadvantage the character has. And I think that in the end, abusing strong blows and keeping the root on top, he is going to be a pretty top character for him. I think that for the attack, it will also be quite good. But above all, for the defense, with that rooted in that Nova Flame, that basically no character is immune to this great disadvantage, and that on top of that, he has other advantages. At the moment, not much is known about the character's kit, and we will already know when we will be able to obtain it in that Heart of Fire. But I'm already telling you that he's going to be a pretty top character. So I'm going to stop for Dark Happy's video here. And basically, this is the recap of the characters that are going to being included in the Heart of Fire. And the truth is that some pretty top characters that we are already seeing that require their duplicate in Great Elevation, it is worth more better for 200 Nick Zurich. Well, Apocalypse in this case, not Nick Adman of the future. It seems that this Darfemis character is also going to need a lot of singleness. So in this case, I would tell you that if you can invest some money in him, let's hope that these crystals can be purchased with runes, although Kaban has not said so, and if it will continue. The same structure as the Omega event that we had quite a year ago. I think it was because we're not going to be able to buy those glasses, so it's going to have to be for real money. So friends, I hope you liked the video, partners, where you are, and see you in other videos. Bye bye.